Hello and welcome. My name is Rev Bowen of Simply Waldorf. In this video, I'll be presenting a language arts lesson. The language arts rhythm is a 3-day rhythm. On the first day, there is a story. On the second day, we do an artistic activity, often a drawing. And on the third day, we pull the more academic reading and writing type of lesson from the story and the artistic process that we went through. Less you can see how the lesson is pulled out of the story. I hope you will check out the free story lesson presentation I have offered, and then you'll see how this fits into it. I've also provided additional resources below in the description section, and these will help you to prepare and present such a language arts lesson yourself to your students. Language arts lesson number 1 will be derived from the story The Bat and the Weasel, a fable, of course. And so we are technically on the second day of the 3-day rhythm. So yesterday we heard the story for the first time. We went to sleep. On the second day, before we come to the paper, we review the story. And you can either take the course for how to review stories or read the article I've written that will give you a basic idea for reviewing a story. But now that the story has been reviewed, we've awakened the images and the imaginations. We're ready to work on the page. And so in this first lesson, only this first lesson, I'll demonstrate the very simple technique of making a border. And all I'm using is a block crayon with its different sides. We've got the long side, the papa side. The shorter side is the mama side, and the little corner is the baby side. And I'm going to use, because we've got a nice big piece of paper, I'm going to use the papa side to make a border. And basically, my principle is left to right movement for a right-hander, left to right, and top to bottom movement. It's nice to demonstrate this for your student, to work with them, these younger students. They need to see models whom they can imitate, so I don't work too quickly. I'm careful with my work. All makes sense, right? For anyone who is an educator or a parent, if you've ever worked with children in any way, you know how true these things are. They will imitate us, for better or for worse. Notice I'm curving at the corners. It just makes a nice warm space. Oh, top to bottom. And curve. And curve. Now again, if you haven't seen my little short video about working with the block crayon, let me just tell you now, in terms of gripping it for the child, you might need to help them at first. If they're using the papa side, we want to see them pinch it between their fingers and their thumb. Could be 2 fingers, could be 3 fingers for little hands. The whole idea, though, is that opposable thumb is at work. And we're laying it down so that it's not a perpendicular edge straight down on the page. It's tipped at an angle. That's how we grip it and drag it across the page to apply the color. With the mama side, which I didn't use here, but if I were to use it, I would pinch the sides this way and get a finger on top for pressure. So it's helping, actually, the 3-finger grip we're going to use in writing. 3 fingers, Here, we're using 3 fingers as well. So you may need to help them with that. Block crayons are unusual. There's maybe different things they might want to do in terms of gripping, and who knows what they might come up with. I've seen all sorts of pencil grips, so who knows. But if you help them, they learn how to do it comfortably and in a way that is fostering a good grip overall, even for pencil grips. There. So that, by creating a border, which from now on we'll just have the borders in these videos, the border will already be done. But by creating a border, I warm the space. I'm greeting it. The child gets to do something here before there's any pressure to, create something artistic or write something. It's just a way to get to know the page. And it's beautiful. That's the other positive about it. Okay, now our artistic activity, bat and weasel. Bat and weasel. So I think it's obvious what we want to draw. The bat and the weasel are speaking to one another. And even though in the story we know that the bat fell to the ground and all that, it's okay to take some artistic license, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to have the bat appearing. Oh, I'm gripping it with a mama side, the brown. I'm going to have the bat appearing to be almost hovering, but I don't say that to the children. I just say we're going to draw the bat. And I start with an egg shape. Then I add a smaller circle on top. Then I do some nice big ears, because bats, of course, as we all know, can hear very well. And now, this could be tricky, but you don't want to get into the anatomy of the bat's wings or anything. You just want to give them tips for how to draw it. So we're going to come up to a peak and down. Up and down. And then the wing is just going to fold out underneath that arc. Same thing on the other side. Up and down. Now that's enough. Of course we could draw little feet. This has to do with getting to know the skill level of your student. I always want to be able to stretch them a little bit, but not frustrate them. So that's the key, is really knowing the student. But if you want to do the feet, you certainly can. I would just do simple little gestures like that. Just a simple foot on a short leg. And then the weasel, I'm going to do actually a light blue, and I'm going to mix it with a little bit of black. So a weasel has a very curved body, so I can do a big curve. And then I make the curve fatter at the bottom, but not too fat at the top, only because I want to have a little bit of a head before I shape the neck. So now I make an egg shape up here. Egg shape. Tiny ears. Now I can fill out the neck until it feels like it fits the animal. And now I can have him gesturing as well. I'm going to use the baby side. His little paws. Well, so I can see, there's one arm. I'm going to come out this way actually. So I can see his arm. And then of course his legs. So if you want to hint, you could do a little egg shape, kind of a long egg shape, you know, like a drumstick. And then a little foot down here. And then on the other side, we'll just have the foot sticking out. Very simple, very simple. And now I can mix a little black into it. That's the lovely thing about these block crayons. We can blend colors. I'm very lightly doing it, so it's more like a gray. And I wouldn't go to the extremities. In other words, I'm going to leave the hands and the feet blue. Very light on the face. And now I can just use a little corner to create an eye, or eyes, and a nose. And then it depends on how you made the face, if there's room for a mouth. Now we'll come back to the bat. We'll have a nose and eyes and a little mouth. Comes out of the nose. Now we'll just fill in a little bit of background. This lovely thing about block crayons is that it's so easy to apply lots of color. Quickly. And because my weasel is blue, I'm going to do the blue very light in the sky. And now you look. Well, did I lose a little bit of my weasel? It looks like I did. So I'm going to come back with just a little bit more of the black to show my weasel face a little better. There we go. Very simple drawing. Now, when you complete a drawing, you can think ahead to the next lesson for what you know, hopefully you know, is going to come on day 3, where we do the academic, language arts lesson. And what we're going to bring tomorrow is the word family that's consonant, vowel, consonant, or CVC, that goes with the word for bat. So while we're doing this drawing, or when we've completed the drawing, I'm going to bring their attention to bat. Just listen to that word. Bat. Bat. Now, all I've done by saying that a few times, and maybe they repeat it, we've planted a seed that will live with them overnight so that we can come back and review that tomorrow for our academic lesson. Only then will I talk about the whole word family. Only then will we try to discover together more words that are in that family at. But today I'm just bringing their attention to the sounds of that one word, bat, because I don't want to confuse them from what they've done. This artistic process, this way of living into the picture, into the imaginations, is so important for the young child. So we don't want to try and do too much in one day. Just a little seed was planted. That's all we need to do. Now we'll move to day 3. Day 3 of our first language arts lesson. Second day in this course, because we're not using the story for the language arts course. That's the other course. But day 1 was the story. Day 2 was our drawing, the owl and the weasel. And now we come to day 3. So one way you could review the drawing from the day before is you could just put a little bat up in the corner. It's nice practice. I'm just going to do that. So egg shape. Circle. Ears. Wings. Feet. Very simple, very simple. And now we review also, of course, the word bat. And so now I'm going to write it. In first grade, if you took the first grade course, you may have limited, and it's perfectly fine, I always did, limit the script of letters to the uppercase letters for first grade. So I'm going to start with that. A nice big bat. And again, when I write, I am being a good model of not hurrying. I write it simply and slowly. And then we really work on hearing the word bat, whole, the whole word, bat, bat, and then we move to the parts. B, a, t, b, a, t, bat, back to the whole. Bat, bat, b, a, t, bat, bat, bat. And so, in this word family, we're working with the vowel a sound, the vowel sound a, and the consonant at the end, t, at. So we try to have the students find words that they know that have these sounds in the ending. In other words, rhyming words, words that rhyme with bat. And of course, there are quite a few. The simplest is at itself. Now, here's your choice. If your child is ready, if they've really mastered the alphabet in the uppercase, they're ready for the lowercase. And you don't need to make a great big to-do of using lowercase symbols. They will see the relationship in most cases, and in the cases where they don't, they're going to encounter it so often that it will quickly become something they recognize. So I can just say, the word at, I'm going to write with the lowercase letters. That is the lowercase a, very different. The lowercase t is similar, except that instead of crossing on top, it crosses a little bit below the top. We have the word at. And of course, you go through finding other words. So I'm just going to write the words that I have found that children recognize quite easily. You'll probably not be surprised by any of them. So here is a collection of words that are in the at family with bat. And I want to show them, last of all, how to write that first word also with lowercase. And I show them, for sure I show them. These are the same words. Bat, this is all uppercase. Bat, these are lowercase. Same word though. Bat, bat. And then we have our other words. Now, of course, the question is, I think there are two common questions. What do I do as the teacher when they suggest words that are not in this word family? So let's just say that a child suggests the word hit. And this is not so uncommon to our adult ears, very familiar with the vowel sounds. We recognize immediately that, hat. I didn't put hat in here. Let's use that. So, hat. Hat is obviously very different than hit. A, I. But they're close. Well, you've got a couple of options. Number one, if it is close, you can say, hit is close. But let's put the a in that word. And then they change hit to hat. You might have to help them, but at least they've made a transition. So we take something they give us and we evolve it or transition it to fit into our word family. That's one possibility. That's kind of the ideal if we can help them fit it in. But then they may say something like, let's see, I'm trying to think of one that wouldn't work that way. Wet. You know, there's no wat word, so wet. They say the word wet. Well, they're close, right? And you can say that. Oh, you're very close. You have the last sound, so we always want to emphasize something. If we can find anything that is positive, that is correct, we want to recognize that. Yes, you got the ending sound, the t, wet. It's there, yes. But if wet were to fit in this word family, it would have to be wat. And that isn't a word in our language. So let's keep looking. That's all you have to do. There's no wrong. It's just that would either be a different word family, if you have a word like that that fits in another family, or you can say it's not a word in our language. Wat may be a word somewhere. So I'm not going to say it's not a word. It's just not a word in our language. All these are ways of avoiding the dead stop wrong type of judgment. We want to always focus on the positive, always try to help move something toward how it can work. And that's how it can work with these little short words, short word family. So here's the word bat, and all of the words, hopefully they can find most of them or some of them, and we can help them find the others. Sometimes I just might say, if they didn't think of the word mat, let's just say, for example, mat. I would say, okay, we've got a lot of words, but there's one more I can think of, and I'm going to give you a hint. I'm going to give you the first sound in the word, and then you make it fit with the at family. So I'm going to give you the first sound, and you fit it onto at. And I might say, What if we put the sound at the beginning of at? What word would that make? A child who can put that together, they're on a good path already in understanding language is if they can hear it, they've got a real step forward. Mat. Oh, it's mat. The more quickly they recognize that word, we know that they are hearing the phonemes of our language. They are phonetically plugged in. They're phonetically clued in to our language. After that, we're just showing them the symbols to represent it on paper. This is the easy part. The harder part is being able to hear the differences between these sounds, especially these especially these shorter vowel sounds. A, E, I, O, U, So now we have 10 vowel sounds that we have to help them master. And it's those short vowel sounds that are really trickier, in my experience, for the younger students. But we just practice and practice and practice, and they will get it. Okay, I'll see you in the next lesson. I hope you enjoyed that lesson. Now you can see how a language arts lesson can be pulled out of a story. And so we're able to build our whole lesson out of those imaginations. Therefore, the student is more connected, more involved, and just feels better, feels more interested in what we're doing when we derive our lessons in this way. If you have not already seen the free math lesson, please look in the description below for that companion lesson, which is also pulled out of the same story. Please visit our website at simplywaldorf.com, where we provide you additional resources to help simplify your Waldorf homeschooling experience.